We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hey everybody, welcome to Cage My IQ. I'm your host, D-Bake. Joining with me, my good buddy of mine, NJ Insight. How's it going, Insight?
Doing great, man. I called the car with my man Jay Smooth, and now I'm with you. So it's doubling up here tonight. Win-win.
Exactly. Him and Jay Smooth were on Rush Hour doing the live stream for Bellator 258. And here we are doing a recap of it for you guys, so you can check it out on YouTube right away. But this was a pretty good fight card that we had on. Just like yesterday, I felt like it went by pretty quickly. I felt like the championship fight was longer than the first three fights combined. But I had no complaints with it. But how did you feel about this this card before we get into the first fight?
So when I first saw like the headliner, I'm like, Archuleta, Sergio Pettis. And anytime I see a Pettis brother now, I'm like questioning, like, this is a headliner. Then I look through the card, and I'm like, oh shit, Rumble's on there, and like Rumble excites me to no end. So I'm like, oh shit, Rumble's on there. That's one thing. And then I saw Michael Page on there, and I'm like, you know, look, the guy fights cans, but he's exciting. So we got on the before the main event, we got some really fun guys, plus Pitbull's brother, who looked like shit. But so I was excited about it for a Bellator card. I felt, you know, this is one I could promote. So.
Yeah, but let's get into the first fight on the main card. We had Michael Page defeated Derek Anderson, in which Page won via first round TKO, aka the doctor stoppage. He basically fucked up Derek Anderson's knee, as you see, his nose, as you see right here in the picture. What did you take from this fight?
So look, you know, Page does a lot of stuff that annoys fight fans, like older guys like myself. Maybe the kids like it, but he's doing a lot of break dancing. But this guy, he's fighting, you know, ex-UFC guy. When the picture you have up, I mean, he leans into that kick. So right before that, like he kind of like does like a stutter. He wants to kind of dance with Page, and Page's left leg is clearly coming up. And I'm not a fighter, but he like almost diddy bopped into this kick and deserved to have his nose like splattered like it was. And again, so, I mean, it's a doctor stoppage. This one I was okay with because there was no way this guy was going to beat Page. Like, he didn't have the skill set to do it. Just, you know, and he gets fed cans all day, Page. So, you know, I thought, you know, doctor stoppage is fine with me because this guy looked slow. He was walking right into Page's stuff and making Page look good when Page is not that good. So, you know, again, another win for Page. This guy deserved what he got. And, you know, a lot of haters in the room I was in that didn't like Page. But, I mean, that guy deserved what he got, in my opinion. I don't know, what do you think?
No, I agree. Like, he had Michael Page who did a lot of the dancing, like the back and forth. I don't know why, but he reminds me of the Bellator version of Kevin Holland, where he tries to avoid getting taken down at all costs. But as long as he's standing up, he's for gold with the trash talking, the movement, the dancing, and then just like using his hands and legs. And that's what he did in this. And I felt like Derek Anderson was just very confused when he didn't know what to do. And just like you said in the live stream, he dropped his hands and was like, what do I do? Like, I don't know what to do, like with him dancing. And he just got caught slipping a little bit. He went to go up, like you said, he went to go up and do something, and he flinched and then decided to go down at the wrong time. If he would have did it a little bit sooner, he would have ducked under it. But then he waited too late to do it, and he basically walked into the leg kick, which just flattened his nose.
He put his face like right into it.
And then when you see him like right before the stoppage, like his nose is flat right now. Like it looks fucked up, like really bad. And I think that's why they basically stopped it, because they didn't want any more to happen to the nose, because they're already going to have to do a lot of damage control with it with the doctors to get it fixed overnight or whenever they have to get it looked at. But like he was getting dominated, all the shots. That's not even the worst shot that I think he took. He took a punch right afterwards, and then it was just better to cut bait than to take more damage in the next 2 rounds.
And I mean, again, he had no chance to win. Like,
yeah,
we're talking about a dude. Like he looks slow. Like again, who dips their head into a left kick when the only kick that's coming up is the left kick? Like again, like he deserved what he got. Yeah. And again, that doctor stoppage I'm okay with. When we get further into the card, I'm not okay with the other one. But like, yeah, I mean, just like a tailor-made guy for Paige again, and it was pretty bad.
Yep, and then remains to be seen who Michael Page has next up. It was kind of funny. The post-fight interview was longer than the fight itself, so he was talking for a while, but then he didn't really give like a name of who's next or whatever. So I hope it's somebody good. I hope it's somebody that was in the Grand Prix that we can at least be like, okay.
Why isn't he in the Grand Prix?
Page was in the Grand Prix. That's where he lost.
Okay, he lost to Lima?
He lost to Lima in I think the semifinals of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, but how long ago was that? Like I feel like that's a while ago.
It definitely was a while ago. I think it was maybe 2 years ago, because of how many guys were in the Grand Prix at the time.
I mean, Page is 34. And he's 18-1, and his only losses in the Grand Prix, but he's not fought anybody in top 5 of Bellator.
Yeah,
like Chandler's transition to UFC.
Yeah, and if you looked at the note I made in the live stream, 70% of his fights have taken place in the Mohegan Sun. He's only fought 4 fights outside of the Mohegan Sun arena.
I mean, he is British, so that's better than, I guess, fighting in England. But
yep.
So anyway, again, Page got the job done. That guy looks super slow, and like if they want to test him, at least put him in with like wrestlers, like Askren style dudes that will just take him down. But again, I rather see him fight that guy, and it's more fun for me. So I rather see that.
Yep. In the next fight we have on here, actually, I don't know why it was put this way, but we had Peter Quirley defeated Patricky Pitbull Freire by 2nd round TKO, aka Dr. Stoppage, basically, which was crazy in itself. But if you look at the video here, that's basically one of the reasons why right there is you don't see it right there, but he picks his head up, and then it's just perfect time, and then that's what gushed his head open.
But he picks his head up after he gets hit with 2, I would say, illegal elbows.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think about that? Like, I feel like those first 2 elbows were illegal. Like, he hit him on the top of the head. So then Pitbull picks his head up to, like, not get hit in the back of the head, and then he gets cut.
It's very tough, because you gotta kind of nitpick at it. Did he do it on purpose? Or was it just because of how the movement was going? And then he was trying
he's down. His head is down. I mean, I don't care if it's on purpose, but then on top of that, though, Pitbull doesn't want the fight stopped. The blood is a lot, but it's not going into his eye. So unless he's complaining, I feel like that fight should have continued.
Do you think maybe it didn't because of COVID? Because of all the blood and everything?
So what it looked like to me was the doctor put his pad against the head, and then he held it down, and he saw a lot of blood. Yeah. So I think his thought process was he's bleeding too much, and not where the blood was actually going, right? So if you watch at the end of the fight, they put a thing into his head. It stops the blood, which they couldn't do if the fight continued. But it was 5 minutes to go. I feel like Pitbull, like it's not a fight that Pitbull, like the fight Page, that guy was losing both rounds. So that if that continued, I could see like fighter preservation. This fight was close. So let this fight continue. If he's losing a lot of blood, then make the decision. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if it was going into his eye, then you stop it, right? Or even if he says, I can't see, right? Which fighters say all the time, right? This dude clearly wanted to continue. It wasn't a Nate Diaz where his eyes flapped over, right? Mm-hmm. So I would say that stoppage was kind of weak in my opinion because the guy didn't complain. The guy didn't want to be looked at by the doctor.
Yeah. Now, if it was the first round, would you have been okay with it? Because then it would have been
not really
10 more minutes instead of 5 minutes.
Not really. If a doctor thinks that he's losing too much blood during the fight, then that's different. So yeah. I think a cut on the top of your head, you would take days to bleed out. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he can't get medical attention right after the fight's over. Mm-hmm. So I would feel still pissed off if it ended after round one. Again, if it's a pussy dude that says I can't see, or like there's some kind of like, you know, thought process that he's compromised. He wasn't compromised. Like if you're compromised, like to bleed out from a cut up here, like it wasn't. You bleed out from like if you cut an artery in your leg or your wrist. Like so for the judge to say, oh, there's some blood on the pad, you're bleeding too much. Like to me, this fight is 5 minutes left or 10, and they're gonna treat the cut, right? So it has to get reopened, and it wasn't going into his eye. He wasn't complaining. Like again, Nate Diaz, his eye was like flopped over. Like Vitaly Klitschko versus Lennox Lewis, his eye was flapped over. If your eye is like flapped over, like that's one thing. If there's no like flapped over eye and the fight is even, it should continue. Like the Michael Page fight, that guy had no chance to win. His nose had a cut across it that like flattened it. I feel like that's different. Like that guy's not in the fight. That fight's not going any different. This fight, I mean, what was your scorecard before the stoppage?
I personally, I had Pitbull 2-0. I had him winning. Like he was having massive effects. Even though if you looked at Querley's like his post fight, and he was like, "You got to do more than leg kick me to beat me." It wasn't just the leg kicks. He was getting him with the leg kicks. He took him with the takedowns. Those leg kicks were having a pretty big effect on him.
He dropped him twice.
2-3 times, at least 2 big times. And then he had a small one where he fell down, and then you could see like on his body, he had like 6-7 body shots.
Right, like the welts on his body were as bad as the cut. I mean, again, lot of blood. But the doctor's overreacting to blood. Again, if the fighter complained and you're trying to save the fighter because the fighter doesn't want to continue, doctors, if a fighter says, I can't see, and the doctor's like, well, that's not that bad, and throws him back out there, I don't like that. This one's different. The fighter wanted to continue. It's not dripping into his eye. Let him continue.
Exactly, especially when he's winning 2-0. There's only 5 minutes left. They were able to clean up a lot of it, and at worst, he was just going to start gushing out more blood, but it's going to take you like days to bleed out the way that was coming out. And by then, he would have had fought the 5 minutes, right? And he would have been good.
And I think it's funny. Did anybody say it's 2-0 Pitbull? Like I didn't even go into my scoring, but like you're up 2-0.
Yeah.
Like all you got to do is not bleed out and die.
Yeah, exactly. And like, if you look at the scorecard, he was doing more. Like basically, other than that, when he got tipped down and he elbowed him a few times.
But he took him down.
Yeah. That's all Peter Querley really did most of the fight. Like he did land a few good shots here and there, but it wasn't to the level of what Patricky did to him with the leg kicks, the 2 takedowns, the body shots. Like he was just. They were saying in there like he was methodical with what he was doing. He wasn't rushing in there like his brother normally did. And then that's what Peter Querley wasn't expecting. He was expecting him to come in there with the power shots, and that's not what he did. And that benefited Pitbull. It's just that, of course, because
it didn't benefit him at the end.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is that the takedown hurted him because of the elbows. But
yes.
I feel like if it's an even fight and the guy wants to continue, unless his eye is falling off, like you're stopping it like for blood loss, like that's crazy to me.
And now Peter Query's calling out Patricio that he wants the trilogy fight.
Oh, because he lost to him?
Yeah, he said that they're 1-1 against each other, and he wants the title fight. He said he'd
when
move
did he
up.
beat him?
Apparently he beat him. I would have to look after this, but apparently they are 1-1 against each other.
It's hard to believe.
It's hard to believe. That's what he said in the post-fight, that we're 1-1. We got to get this trilogy ended. Let's do it for the title after the Grand Prix, because I guess he's already thinking that he's going to beat AJ McKee already.
McKee is good, man. McKee is no joke, and McKee is huge for the weight. He's undefeated. I think McKee kills him.
He could. He could. We got to see what happens first, but that's definitely going to be a good fight. But I think Peter Query needs to rematch Patricky first, because I think with him losing and then have it end like this, I think that puts a bad taste. It puts a bad taste in my mouth, knowing that Patricky was basically beating him up really good, and then he lost because of a stupid doctor stoppage.
Yeah, but they're not going to – I mean, I don't see them running that back. But
they won't.
And again, McKee is a lot bigger. McKee, I'm surprised is not in the UFC.
Yeah.
McKee choked out Darian Caldwell from the bottom, like in a crazy choke I've never seen. And Caldwell's a Jersey guy, if you don't know. Caldwell's from Rawway. Like, he's like, and Caldwell had him right where he wanted him, and McKee just slapped it on him, like some weird-ass choke like I haven't seen. It might have been a Von Flo. I'm not sure what it was.
Oh yeah. It definitely did. That shocked me, but it remains to be seen. Like I have found a good fact about a main event that I'll bring to you. Thinking of this now with the weight classes, but you know what? Let's move on to the co-main event.
Right.
Your boy Anthony Johnson picked up a win in the Grand Prix tournament against Jose Augusto by second round KO. If you look at it right here, that's one of the shots that I gave to Augusto. What did you feel about this fight?
So I thought Rumble came out under control, but this guy looked a lot longer than him. He looked smaller but longer. I was glad Rumble was in shape, but I felt like when the dude broke his hand. So he broke his hand. The guy, I have my hand broken, but the guy's trying to pull his hand out, and then he threw a punch and he held his wrist. And I'm like, yo, his hand's really hurt. And I thought Rumble started taking over, and then he got caught, and I'm like, oh shit! I got real concerned because he was in trouble. Like, he was down. The guy had him almost like in a Khabib with the lefts and just holding his one arm, and then he got into a choke, and then Rumble spun out and got top control, and I had a high level of concern at that point. You know what I mean? And again, Rumble, the way he fights is it just takes one shot. So if you're going to stand with him, eventually he's going to get that one shot. You know what I mean? Like, the way to beat Rumble, it would be to take him down, right? Right?
Yeah.
So I guess I got concerned, but when he survived that onslaught, I should have eased up my concern, because if he lands one shot, it's over. You know what I mean? And that's what he did. So
that's all. The crazy part is, if you looked at the post-fight interview, he didn't even know that he got popped by Augusto. He was like, "I got rocked," and then he looked at it. He was like, "Oh, I guess I did. I didn't really know."
How does he not know that?
and then they went to Josh Thompson. And he was like, that happens with fighters where they don't realize that they got rocked until after it happened. Like, he was just going.
He was down. He got rocked, and he was down on his knees. He got rocked again, and then.
I think the first shot where he got literally the left hook popped him and knocked him down. He probably didn't realize he was wobbly. Like, he was just saying that he got knocked down, and then he got up, and they're like, no, you got knocked down because he like hooked you. And then Rumble's like, really? And he looked, paused a second, and then he's like, oh shit, I did. I didn't realize that I got rocked. And it's like, how do you not know that you got rocked or not?
And he didn't get up right away. He was the dude had him in a choke. He actually luckily spun the right way, got top control, and the round ended.
And he actually got lucky that the dude's hand was broke because he was going to go punch him, and then he remembered that his hand was already broke,
right,
and he couldn't use it.
And that's what I said on the stream. Yeah. I said if the dude dropped him with the left, and if he had his right available, he would have finished Rumble. Now it's a fatal flaw. Like DC got rumbled down, he finished him. Mm-hmm. If you get rumbled down, you must finish him. Yeah, because if he's back up, it takes one shot.
Yep, and Thompson also said that if he was Augusto at the time, he would have just punched his hand until it was numb. Then you wouldn't feel it, and then you would have been fine.
I think he did. I think the second round, I don't think he felt it because when I broke my hand too, same thing. I didn't feel it. Like it didn't hurt. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can see why boxers continue, but he shook it. He shook it. He tried to pull it. And then he threw it, and after he threw it one time, he like grabbed his wrist.
Yes,
so he has some damage in his hand, but then he caught him with the left, and it was like embarrassing because it's like, dude, Rumble got caught by a guy with one hand.
Mm-hmm. And to
be honest,
dominant hand.
like I feel like Rumble's a special guy. Like he could beat John Jones if he lands. He could knock anybody out if he lands. He's kind of like Derek Lewis, but Derek Lewis carries his power into later rounds. Rumble doesn't.
Definitely. And then
I was happy he got through it because if it was Korchkov versus that dude, there's not a lot of fun.
No, and he caught Augusto with the shot, finished him, basically laid out. He was done even before
his head bounced.
Hammer shots. He was done. and now Anthony Rumble Johnson moves on to fight for the title now in the semifinals.
And he looked fit though. Like he looked good. His body looked good. And to be honest, his gas tank was better than it. Look, if Conor gets hurt, Conor's usually done, right? Like he got hurt, he didn't know it, and he got through it, which is good for Rumble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Because what has he been out 4 years about? And then he's been able to stay. He's been able to stay in a good shape. Like I saw a picture of him, his last fight at UFC to now. He definitely leaned in pretty good weight wise, which is good. And then those leg kicks looked a lot better, a lot shiftier. And he just has to avoid those shots. Definitely against Nemkov now. He's got to watch those.
I mean, I feel like Rumble's going to be Rumble though. Like he could get into that trouble. And if it's a wrestler like DC, he's going to be in trouble. Like Rumble's like Conor. Like he's going to give us what Rumble gives us. Like there's no changing him. There's no improving him. This is what he is.
Live by the sword, die by the sword.
But it's always exciting. It's always exciting, right?
Exactly. And that's why this next fight with him and Vadim Nemkov is going to be good because Nemkov, he has the takedown ability, but it's not like his strong suit. Like it's like his secondary thing. He's known for staying up and trading, and then with a guy like Rumble Johnson, he's gonna have to watch out. He might have to lean towards the secondary takedown wrestling game that he has and to keep that from happening.
To be honest, Rumble could scare him, and then change what because if Nemkov gets him in the 4th or 5th, I feel like he'll finish him even standing. Yeah. But if he can scare him, Rumble Johnson style, like look, these guys don't get afraid of people, right? Rumble's a guy, and Derek Lewis. There are guys that you will be like that make fighters scared. You know what I mean? And fighters don't get scared. You know what I mean? Like Khabib, like at the end, he scared people. Like he had people scared. You know what I mean? Like Tyson and back in our day. Like he won fights prior to the fight. You know what I mean? But fighters aren't supposed to get scared. They're not supposed to get scared because this is what they do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep, but that's gonna happen probably later on. I'm gonna say it probably will happen like September, October. Yeah, usually But then I hear like they might do those fights in July, August, which I'm hoping that's the case. I'd rather sooner than later.
Will it be on the same card, do you think?
Maybe a week apart. And like if you remember the heavyweight one, I remember the one time they did them 2 days apart from each other. They did the one on Friday, then they did the one on Saturday. Because I think Ryan Bader won his, and then Fedor Emelianenko won his the next night. One was on the East Coast, and then one was on the West Coast. And then
but they can't do that now.
Yeah, Bader trick. Well, by then they might be able to. But
I mean, I feel like these fighters, they camp out where they are.
Yeah, but they might be able to do it like 2 days apart. But now with how they're on Showtime, they might do it 2 weeks apart from each other. I feel like,
and then where's that leave Romero? Like after it's over.
I think maybe this was the best case scenario for him, because you know how when we saw the Grand Prix and then we're like, how are they going to have Romero and Johnson in the first fight right away? It might be a blessing in disguise that they didn't waste it right away because of something medical wise like this.
Yeah, but if Johnson loses this fight tonight, it's all off.
Not necessarily. He's just out of the Grand Prix, and they could still be like, okay, he lost that, but Romero didn't compete. So
yeah, but do we care? I mean, does it? I feel like, I don't know. Like if Rumble might quit if he lost that fight.
He might have, but then at the same time, it's like people were complaining that it was going to be a first round matchup, and then where it is where you kind of did perfect timing with them. People were complaining about that. So you're going to have people complaining no matter what. So it's like they would still try and get something out of it rather than nothing at all. But but luckily he won. He won this one, which he was supposed to. I think even if he loses to Nemkov, which is really possible,
that won't matter.
No, it won't. I think it helps, at least if he puts on any good showing. I think they're going to still try to do that after the Grand Prix. They're going to do a Rumble Johnson and then Yoel Romero, unless somehow Rumble Johnson wins the Grand Prix. And then I think they might do something else.
Well, I mean, they could still do that then, though.
They could, but how do you reward Yoel Romero, who hasn't fought yet in the Bellator?
Yeah, but Romero's
immediate title shot.
He's been rewarded before.
Yeah. But I think maybe it's like I said, a blessing in disguise. That
I mean, if he beats Bader in the final, he's beaten Bader twice. Like, how can you can't go back to that? I mean,
no. Well, like I said, would you give Nemkov his rematch?
I mean, it depends how that went, right?
Like, say if it's by like a split decision or something like that. Like
Rumble's not fighting 5 rounds.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because it's going to be the Grand Prix pressed as a championship. So it's
Rumble's not fighting 5 rounds. I don't care if it's 5 rounds.
If it goes by, say if he wins like the second or third round TKO, but he was losing the first 2 rounds,
could happen.
I would give Nemkov a rematch, but say he knocks out Nemkov in the first round, I'd be like, fuck that rematch.
Nah, but money talks, bullshit walks, bro. It's Romero, bro. It's Romero, and but the problem with him is he's a 185er. He's not a 205er.
Romero,
yeah,
he's 3 different weight classes, just like Anthony Johnson. He'll fight at middleweight, he'll fight at light heavyweight, and then he's fought.
Well, he's not fighting at middleweight. He's not. None of them are fighting middleweight.
Not anymore. No, not anymore. It's just what he used to. He like light heavyweight.
He fought at welterweight, bro. He's talking about it was middleweight. He fought 170.
Yep. But let's move on from the co-main event to the main event, the one that got a stir from some of the people in the Animal House. We had Sergio Pettis defeat Juan Archuleta via unanimous decision to win the Bantamweight World Championship in Bellator. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I picked Sergio. You heard me, right?
Yep.
And I went on a limb. I just thought, hey, man, it's maybe his time, right? So I thought just like me. I mean, you scored it. You probably picked Juan. I don't know what you picked, but You scored a 3-2 Pettis. Like, and me and you were on the same page, D-Bake. We thought round 1, officially Pettis. We thought round 4, officially Pettis.
Yes.
So 2 and 3, I had 2-3 Archuleta. You had 2 Pettis, 3 Archuleta. Right? You had 2
Pettis, 3 Archuleta. Yeah.
Right, and we both had 5 Archuleta. We thought that was, again, I'm not impressed by slams. I don't care, right?
Yeah.
But I thought Archuleta won the round with the slam, but he won the round. So, but when I heard 50-45, I knew it has to be Pettis, because you could give Pettis 5, even though you got slammed. You could, and you could give Pettis 2-3, but it was a Archuleta fought like a bad Volkov. He was a point fighter that didn't point. So it goes to Pettis. Like, and you have the stats there, bro. Like Pettis landed more, 60-35, right?
Yep.
And Pettis land, the takedowns, 6 of 11, but I don't even remember those. And I don't think none of them, like, all right, so you take the guy down in the center of the octagon, you drag him to the fence to beat him up, and he gets up. Like, to me, that's not a win for you. That's a loss for you. Like, so he did 0 damage to Pettis when Pettis was off those takedowns. So if you have 6 takedowns and do no damage, to me, that's a loss again. Like, you did not, you lost doing that, right?
Yes.
So to me, when 50-45 is a little bit outrageous to me, but if the champ puts it in the judge's hands and he landed 25 less strikes, right? He's gonna lose. So I think your scorecard is better than mine. I had it 3-2 Archuleta, but I could have gone 5-0 Pettis. I could have.
It would have been more realistic to go 5-0 Pettis for me than 3-2 Archuleta for the main fact that when I was watching the fight, it was the start of round 3. They went to like the striking, and at that point in the start of the 3rd round, Archuleta had only connected on 19% of his strikes to 30% by Pettis.
And that's the opposite of Anthony. Anthony got hit by like 85% in PFL that day. He got hit by 85% of shots. Like, I was like, Anthony, block a punch, bro. You know what I mean? And I want to put this point before we, end this, is that guy Yuri that we're all talking about with in the fight that he knocked out Reyes. And I don't like Reyes. I picked Yuri because I don't like Reyes. I think I don't like him. I don't care what he did versus John Jones. John Jones does what John Jones wants. Yuri had no defense either. Like, I don't care what people say that he has his hands down, he's out of range. He was in range, and Reyes landed. Pettis, Anthony had no D. Tonight, Sergio had D. Like, look at those numbers you showed. That guy threw 240 strikes and only landed 30. That's some great defense.
His D was his bobbing and weaving and his counter movement. Like, he came in knowing what he was going to do, because I even said in the chat thing, I was like halfway through, I was like, he barely had to move at all because he's just shifting to the left, shifting to the right. And even then, he was able to control the center of the octagon because they were like, Archuleta is using every bit of the octagon as he can, because he's known for being a quick guy to last all 5 rounds, but he wasn't connecting on anything because he would come in on an angle. Sergio Pettis would be like, okay, come in, duck, shot. Like unlike his brother, Anthony would come in kind of like it was kind of like Patricio and Patricky. Like, Sergio was acting like Patricky, being more methodical, whereas Anthony was being like Patricio, but Anthony was getting popped. He was looking out of shape. He was getting
and also,
and whereas Sergio was being smart with what he was doing.
And Sergio's taking into account that I don't have the knockout power to knock this guy out. Where the other Pitbull brother knows he can knock anybody out, right? Yeah. He can knock anybody out. Like, he has Connor power. Like, he can knock you out. So he doesn't have to worry about methodical, right? But Archuleta, he didn't do anything, and he deserved to lose. To me, it's not a decision that I think is outrageous. Like, 50-45, I don't like. But if you give him 4 or 3, Pettis, he wins anyway. And I don't see how you don't, other than what I saw. And I was being maybe nice on the second and third round, right? And again, the 5th round could have gone Sergio too. So to me, the 50-45 is is less outrageous than maybe my card with 49-46, like you said.
I just know with how the judges are because that crazy slam that they probably went 5th round just because of that, which one judge did. They gave him just the 5th round, whereas the other judge gave him the 3rd round, and then the third judge gave it all to, of course, Pettis because of his everything he was doing. But just like you said, just knowing that guaranteed 1 and 4 went to Pettis, and we didn't really have a guaranteed round for Archuleta other than maybe the 5th, just because the slam. You kind of had to have thought that Pettis had it in the bag, no matter what the scorecards were, because he had 2 guaranteed to where the other 2,
Like if they went against Pettis in the 1st or 4th, I would be feeling more robbed than if they gave, you know what I mean? If they gave Archuleta any round, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Pettis won 1 and 4, so he's already 1 and 4, and then there's 3 judges. They're gonna see it different ways. The other 3 judges have to see 3 of those suspect rounds to Archuleta. He's gonna lose.
Exactly, because just like you said, once you heard the 50-45, I was like, there's no way that you're giving all 5 rounds to Archuleta when he barely landed anything in the fight other than those other than those takedowns, and those takedowns were basically nothing. Like the first half of them, he would take him down and he got up right away, other than the last 2 maybe, which were at the end of rounds.
And again, I feel like scoring should change. If you take me down in the middle of the ring and you drag me to the cage and I just stand, that should be points for me. Like fuck you, man. You had me down. Like look at those stars of back in the day. If Khabib or even Khabib gets you down, it's over. If Weidman used to get you down, it's over. If GSP got you down, you're not getting up, right? Like the true champs, Usman. Like I mean, people start getting up versus him, but like. If the real guys that finish people, they'll finish you in your guard. So if I get you down and you could I drag you to your corner and you pop up, there's points against you.
Yeah. And I felt like he let him get up a couple of times and it just backfired on him. Like they were saying, oh, he's letting him get up so he could connect on him as he's going up. It's like he didn't do that. And then Pettis would just get up and you'll let him get up and use this counter again. He can't hit you if he's on the ground. But then even when he was on the ground, he was connected with those elbows that he caught with a few times on the ground, and he just couldn't get anything started. And then he wins, and now they're talking about Sergio Pettis going up against Caldwell.
Who, Caldwell? What, he's going down a weight?
That's the name that's being floated right now. Post fight is Caldwell.
I mean, it's a bad matchup for Sergio because Caldwell's a really good wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a Jersey guy, so I got to go with my man Caldwell.
Exactly, Jersey guy. You know how we are. We support our own, so that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting to see. But overall, this was a pretty good card. I had no complaints.
Better card than tomorrow's card.
Exactly. Better card. Even with just 4 fights, this was just a 4-fight main card compared to tomorrow's 6-fight main card with only 4 prelim fights. Now with 3 fights getting knocked off of it. So tune into that tomorrow, 6 o'clock start time.
Did they scratch the guy? They scratched the guy who almost fell over?
Yes. He almost fell over, and then they allowed him to try and weigh in again, and he wound up being 3-4 pounds overweight.
No way.
Yes. And then they scrapped the fight anyway, so which is crazy. And then they scrapped the Rothwell-Lins fight for a second time. This is the second time in a month that their fights got scrapped. So I could only imagine that's not going to happen again. So,
right.
But that'll wrap things up for our Bellator 258 recap show right here. You can check us out each week. You can check him out every Bellator fight live with Jay Smooth on Rush Hour on YouTube. They do a live stream with the Animal House. Usually I'm in there. So you can check them out on YouTube under Rush Hour MMA. Check that out. Check out Rush Hour MMA. They do live streams for every single MMA promotion. The more important ones, they're going to be on tomorrow at 6:00 for UFC Vegas 26, and then more than likely with the Canelo Alvarez Saunders fight, they're going to be on covering that too. So go to YouTube and subscribe to their channel and check them out, and then go follow NJ Insight on Twitter under his handle NJ Insight. Check him out, and then you can follow me at Cage by IQ right here on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. Cage by IQ, the best place for MMA content. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. All the content and interviews are on there right now. If you miss anything, any of the action, just go to my YouTube page, and I'll have some sort of preview or recap of all the events going on. With May being a light month, there'll be a little bit less of it, which is good for me in the long run. I get to relax a little bit, enjoy these fights, but check it out. But I'm your host, D-Bake, and this is my buddy, NJ Insight. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend.
See ya.
Talk to you guys later.
Thank you for watching this episode of Cage My IQ on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.